tip. Captain of the ship, I'm snapping quick. I just dap and dip, trying to catch a lift. It's Jackson Benz, I just smash the strip. Faster than your whip, I'm accurate. If I slap a bitch, trying to tax and shit, then that's legit.
Hey, this is Nicholas Billings, and this is Terp Talk Tuesday. I'm going to break down the Maryland versus Wisconsin game. Man, it stunk that Maryland lost. I was really hoping that they would win 7-2. I don't think I've ever seen that, as long as I can remember them ever being 7-2. I think a lot of Terp fans really need to take a chill pill, though. I saw a lot of tweets and everybody coming for Mike Locksley saying that he needed to be fired over the loss. Man, I can't even remember the last time we were 6-3. Let's just be grateful we are at where we were at. I think Mike Locksley's doing a great job. The program's going in the right direction. So all the tweets, all the people on the internet is just crap. Man, and Taulia was coming off an injury. He came out and it shows some heart. He obviously was banged up. He came out there. They don't want to pull him. He's the star of the team. How are you going to tell him he's not going to play when he's the heart and soul and brought the program where he's at? He's out there playing. He's putting his whole body on the line. Everybody needs to calm down. It was raining. It was a monsoon. Wisconsin was ranked. I believe they were ranked 10th at one point this season. They fired their coach. They've fallen off a little bit, but they're a good team. They're just not performing where they should be at. So Maryland losing to them, if we went into the season, we would have expected Maryland to lose to them. So it's not that big of a deal, the loss. I'm going to be real though. I really wanted them to win. So I was a little disconnected from the game. I was watching it, but when it was 17-0 at halftime, it was hard. I was scrolling through my phone, checking out the scores of the other game. It was just hard to stick with it. And I understand why it would be disheartening and just bad feels. So it seemed like I wanted to get that out of the way first. And it seemed like Wisconsin really had a good defensive game plan going in the game. The Maryland offensive line couldn't do nothing against their pass rush. They were just getting through all day. Taulia, it just seemed like Taulia was escaping every play. What's scary about this game, which may apply at the game at Penn State, is it really exposed Maryland really relies on the pass game to open up their run game. Because when the wide receivers and the QB can do nothing, it seems like the offense does nothing. I think Northwestern really expected Billy Edwards to pass a lot, and that allowed Roman Hemby to run for all those yards he went off. It was like 180 yards. And when Wisconsin was expecting the rush, I don't think Maryland's good. Maryland's an awful running team. And when they need to run the ball, just run the ball, I don't think they can do that. But Maryland has like 5-star wide receivers. But it's not the NFL. College football, you need both options if you want to be a successful program. Now, why I'm not really worried about that problem, though, both of our star running backs are also freshmen. So, it's only going to get better. Throw Maryland's run game in another conference like the ACC or something, I think Maryland would be running the table right now. But in the Big Ten, there's too many good teams, too many good defensive-focused teams every week. It's not a conference where you're seeing teams score 42, 43, games. Maryland's defense also is a huge problem. The defense got good ball players all over the defense. They're just not gelling together. And it's a bunch of sloppy arm tackles. And it's the same thing. It's not just this Maryland team. It's every Maryland team that's ever. It just seems like arm tackles, just misassignments, undisciplined plays. Our secondary makes really big plays, but the big plays are always taken away by how many big plays they give the offense. Maryland, they're playing handball. They're playing two-hand touch, it seems a lot. They're playing two-hand touch while the ball... I would be mad about these pass interference calls, but when I go to these games, I sit there and I watch the corners play, and they're tugging and holding on the wide receivers all game. Now, you see that everywhere, and you see it happen to Maryland wide receivers, and you see it when you watch games on TV. It seems like everybody's pass interference nowadays, just because the wide receivers are so good. And the skill players are better than the defensive players, so they're doing everything that they possibly can do to stop these guys from scoring on them. But it's just Maryland's not it right now, and I hope that motivates. I hope someone hears this. They're not doing it. They're not covering that great. They're covering awful. and I've watched it all year. It's poor. And if Maryland's ever going to take that step forward, I think they need to have a really good defense. I'm looking at Maryland's recruiting board. They don't got a top 20 recruit in the whole state. We got all these defensive guys coming out of all these great high schools in the state of Maryland. Maryland needs the next recruiting plan, the next 5 years, competing in the Big Ten, going to the college football playoff expansion, bring in the local defensive guys, make the defense good, forget the offense. That's what the Big Ten's all about. Having this crappy defense every single year, it's gonna result. We gotta play now USC and UCLA now, at least one of them. So you're gonna guarantee, if you don't got a defense, you're gonna guarantee against one of these great offenses a loss every year. It's gonna be an upset. USC is always gonna have a 5-star recruit, even if they're 5 and 6. And they're going to go out there and they're going to upset Maryland every single year. And you're going to see Maryland be the same for the next 20 years, like the first 20 years of my life. So defense needs to be a priority. It needs to stop being like, I feel like the offense is great. And the offense can be sneaky. Maryland has that offense I'm talking about, like the other teams have, that I'm talking about, that are going to beat Maryland. Right now, they have an offense that can sneaky beat teams. But they're always going to get beat because of the defense. And back to the recruiting. Maryland doesn't have a top 20 recruit in the state of Maryland. Like, that is freaking ridiculous. You go to Ohio State, they're working with Raising Cane's Chicken. The recruits are the freaking face, using NIL deals. Why doesn't Maryland do that? You think maybe the local guys would want to stay home if you put them on the face of some big brands around the DC, Baltimore area? Like, I don't see that. I don't see Maryland players representing big brands besides Under Armour. Why aren't they getting Maryland players on the back of Old Bay bottles, sending them all over the country so we can get the brand from coast to coast? Maryland's literally 10 miles from the nation's capital. All the national media there, all the big businesses. No, you don't see any of the players with great NIL deals. And it's probably because the businesses, Maryland doesn't have the 5-star recruits, but it's all there to make it work. I don't understand. I don't get it. I think another thing also is these recruits growing up in Maryland. Maryland's not a football town. Like, when you go to a game, it's not really the tailgating experience. You can go probably to a FCS school, a Division II school, and have a better tailgating experience than you get at Maryland. Now, there's a lot of great fans that are out there. It's just like, it's not really big party. It's kind of low key. I think the keys of beating Penn State on Saturday, Maryland's defense, they got, like I said earlier, they got players. They got great players all over the defense. They're just not playing together, and they're playing tug of war. They're just grabbing at jerseys. You can see the potential and the upside of these guys. They're just, for whatever reason, not using their full potential. They need to come out. Penn State, fully energized. Don't get scared of the lights. Don't get scared of the big crowd. It's going to be a great time. They need to play hard defense. They need to lay someone out. They need to work together. There needs to be 3 guys all wrapping up, being on the 3 heads on the ball. And that's the key. Maryland also needs to, he can do what he can do. I hope he's 100% Saturday. But they need the pass game to open up the run game. They need Talia to at least get 180 yards for them to at least have a chance to win. That's just how Maryland offense works. They can't just go run. They're not that team. I think if Talia gets to 180 yards, though, he will open up Roman Himby or Antoine Littleton up to get 100 yards rushing. Hopefully both of them. Well, this was an episode of Terp Talk Tuesday. Thanks for listening to me. This is Nick, and I'm out.
With this, need a napkin, shit. Captain of the ship, I'm snapping quick. I just dap and dip, trying to catch a lift. It's Jackson Benz. I just smash the strip faster than you whip. I'm accurate. If I slap a shit, trying to tax the shit, then that's legit.